Welcome back to The Big Picture. We're talking to Lou Picone, Ed Rutkowski, and Booker Edgerson. We're talking Buffalo Bills and football, and a lot of things going on. The Bills Alumni Association, very active, and you guys have some things you're doing with the Cancer Association?
Yeah, one of our initiatives is Cure the Blue, and it deals with prostate cancer. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in '96, and so as time went along, you know, I started thinking about the situation and that we need to make the public more aware of what was going on because nothing was being talked about, you know. And especially the National Football League. I mean, who else played a game of football? Men. And at some point, those guys out on the field is going to have some problems with prostate. But most of all is they got their fathers and they got their grandfathers and their uncles and everything. So we're really pushing for the National Football League to jump on board like they do with the breast cancer program and to provide a pathway for men to, you know, because we're looking at awareness. Because if you're not aware of what's going on, if you don't go get checked out and screened on a yearly basis or every other year basis, then you're not going to have knowledge of knowing that you had this disease. And right now, that's what we're pushing for. And the Buffalo Bills Alumni Foundation, we have been out beating the bushes throughout Western New York and New York State, raising funds. We just provided over $100,000 to Roswell in 2018. And hopefully this year we're going to come up with another substantial amount of money that we're going to provide. And it's dealing with prostate cancer with the research and development of trying to eradicate prostate cancer. And the only way you're going to do that is by getting out there and making men and women aware of the dangers of this. But now the technology is so great. So now the problem's not as great as it used to be because of the technology. And so men should be able to go in and get screened without any adversity in terms of thinking they're gonna die or anything of that nature. So that's what we were doing, and that's what our guys do. And they do a great job because we just feel that all the bodies, you gotta have them, you know.
But he's being modest because it's not just the Alumni Foundation that donates the money, but it was his initiative about 3 or 4 years ago because Booker's a 2-time survivor of prostate cancer, and it was his initiative and his determinedness that got us to where we are today. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been able to give that $100,000 to Roswell.
Well, that's great. And the Alumni Association is very active. And how do people get involved? How can people help?
Well, they can go to the Buffalo Bills Alumni Foundation on the website or to Cure the Blue on the website. Okay. And you can donate or you can volunteer your time or you can donate dollars to the Cure the Blue. And also we have a annual event in July where we have a golf tournament as well as a gala, and we raise, that's our biggest fundraiser in the year. And normally the money that we raise, we try to give back to the community in terms of other charities that's out there. So that's our biggest fundraiser, is the Alumni Weekend.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if we can do more on the station.
Great,
to promote
we look
it
forward
as well.
to it, you know.
That's
Mary
terrific.
Wilson was so gracious as to lend Ralph's name and likeness to our Alumni Foundation weekend, or Alumni Weekend, and that's the name of our golf tournament. So that was really a boon to us.
Let's talk a little bit about the present day Bills. What do you think about this year's team? How you think they're faring?
You know, it's kind of interesting. Everybody now they're 6-3. Everybody's talking about, well, you got to get the offense to score more points, which is nice. You know, it's nice if you can get the offense to score 35 points, but if the other team scores 37, it doesn't do you any good. You know, the defense is what gets you into the championships. We've got a great defense, 64-65 when we won the championships. In that 2-year span, our defense, there were 17 consecutive games when they did not allow a rushing touchdown.
I remember that.
Consider that, 17 consecutive games.
Incredible.
So if you don't have a great defense, you're not going to be able to get into the playoffs. The Bills, They do have a great defense. They just got to cut down on mistakes, stupid things, penalties, and missed field goals. They're going to have close games, so they got to be able to make sure that they concentrate and don't make stupid mistakes.
Is this, and we talked about this a little bit before the show, my opinion is that this is a coach's league, that the talent varies a little bit from team to team, but for the most part, if you get a really good coach, you're going to have a really good team. I mean, look at New England. I mean, I don't care who gets hurt on that team, you know, what they get in the draft from year to year. With Belichick as a coach, that team is always going to be right up there. They may not win the Super Bowl every year, but you know they're going to be competitive.
Two concepts. One is you build a system around your talent, and the other one is you put the talent into your system. For my experience has been the guys that would be successful is they take a look at their talent and they know enough about various systems to be able to engage that and engage the system around their talent. That was my experience, at least. I think if you try to jam things into something that doesn't fit, it just won't work for you.
I wasn't enough of a student of the game when Lou Saban was the first time. But I know when Marv Levy was the coach, we would often come out in the second half with an adjustment and do very well against teams because we always would counter what they were doing and win in the second half. And Belichick does that a lot. Was Lou Saban that kind of a coach? Come out and make adjustments?
Yeah, well, I don't know how they do it now in terms of huddles when they get into the locker room at halftime. But we used to, separate ourselves from the offense and the defense. And Joe Collier was the defensive coordinator. So we would analyze what we did in the first half and deal with that, and the offense would do the same thing. So it would be more inclined to be able to answer that question of what Lou Saban, because Lou Saban was part of the offense.
Was he an offensive-minded coach?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we only had, 4 coaches?
4 coaches.
Yeah.
Today they got about 28 coaches.
23 coaches.
I'll give you an example. In my experience, I moved everywhere. They had me at all 5 different receiver spots, and things of that nature. And my whole thing was, that I had to know what every position was and the options that you had and the recognition of the defense. And if each player takes that kind of attitude and realizes and doesn't make mental errors, okay, the physical nature of anybody that gets to that level is pretty much established. You got the physical nature. Do you have the mental capacity to fit in that system and to run that system and understand what it is you're looking at every play?
I think also that with today's coaches and the players, because it starts from high school now, more so now than it used to be, and the colleges and everything. The coaches are very much aware, of what's going on. The players themselves, they got computers that they deal with, so they can see what their mistakes are and everything. They can correct them right off the bat. And I give the McDermott a lot of credit for what he's done with this team and how he's brought it along, and I just hope that they give him the opportunity to stay here for his 5 years and more. Don't get rid of him after 3 years, and it does not look like they're going to get rid of him after 3 years anyway, because he's done a hell of a job.
Well, the 2 years we won the championship, 64 and 65, we had a great defense and a very strong running attack. The Bills have the potential to have a very strong running attack, Singletary and Gore. They've already got a great defense. You ask any offensive lineman, they would rather run block than pass block, because run block, you're being the aggressor. Pass block, you're being on the defensive.
Yeah.
So they've got the talent, the potential. I just hope they put it all together.
Well, we can always hope for the best. And as usual, time goes so quickly on this program. We're going to have to wrap it up. Good, fun discussion. And we'll do this again, I can promise you. Thanks so much for watching WBBZ. And thanks again for watching The Big Picture. We will wrap it up. I want to thank Lou Picone and Ed Rutkowski and Booker Edgerson for being my guests. And we'll see you next time on The Big Picture.
Bye.